Hey, what's going on, everybody? Good to see everyone back. Thanks for stopping by, as always. So, right before you here, I have accumulated quite a collection of different budget-friendly tournament chess sets. Most of these, as you could see, are going to be plastic, and some of these you've already seen before. I've had a lot of people actually stop by and say, could you review some more inexpensive tournament size chess pieces, chess sets, chess boards, that kind of thing? This row, the dark and the light, are going to be the chess set that I was able to purchase at the Barnes & Noble. Fairly inexpensive set, plastic, not super heavy. On this side, you could see this was the chess set that I purchased some time ago, and I do a lot of my chess comparison to these particular pieces. This particular chess set right here is actually pretty close to the size of my 1852 Paulsen set. In between here, I got a couple of extra chess sets that I was able to purchase recently, and I wanted to talk a little bit more about these two right over here. So as you can see on this side, we have a very similar plastic set. This is a triple weighted plastic set. They're going to be very similar. The only main difference between these two sets is the fact that these particular chess pieces are going to be a glossy finish, whereas this particular set has a more of a matte finish, so it doesn't reflect as much, and it kind of feels a little bit different in hand, whereas this one kind of feels more smooth. This one feels like it's got a little bit more grip to it, a little bit more resistance. So, but aside from that, not a whole lot different. When we look at the underside, the felt that's being used in both sets is very, very similar. It's not super expensive felt, but it gets the job done because you want something that will have a decent amount of felt on the bottom. Because as I'll show you guys here in a second, if you're playing these particular chess pieces on like a roll-up board, say it's a vinyl or a mouse pad or silicone, then you're not really gonna, it's not gonna matter a whole lot as what kind of felt you have on the bottom, because you're not gonna be sliding your pieces back and forth, okay? However, if you're playing on a wooden board, especially if you're playing on a fine wooden board like this, then if the felt on the bottom is like this, and this is the Barnes & Noble chess set, well, what ends up happening is, I'll show you guys, hopefully you will be able to hear. See? You hear that scratching going on? And then compare that to no scratching, or this one in particular, no scratching. And then when you place this piece down, it goes all the way on the felt. Whereas this Barnes & Noble chess set, you hear, the felt doesn't cover the entire chess piece, and the felt's been placed here just for, I don't know, it's not really serving the purpose that it needs to be serving. As you could tell, that the corners right over here are still plasticky, so if you end up putting it, you could end up damaging or scratching your nice board. You know, like I said before, if you're using this particular set with the board that came with it, which was the silicone, then it probably wouldn't be that big of a deal. But you know, I'd be mindful of what kind of felt is on the bottom of the pieces before you end up purchasing them. Obviously, you know, if you're getting like a nice wooden chess set, that usually the felt on the bottom of those is going to be pretty nice. It's going to be like wool, and it's probably going to be about a millimeter thick. So that's where usually you want to end up with a nice set, is having a wool, because this one here, this is really still pretty thin, but it gets the job done. So you still get a nice sliding action with this one, but I wouldn't necessarily want to play this particular set on a wooden board like this. Now let's take a minute and think about all the different materials that chess pieces are made out of. We have the wood, plastic, different kinds of plastic. We have high polymer resin, which is still plastic, metal, glass. What else we got? We got different types of stone, like jade stone. We have ceramic. And then we have the combination of different ones. Shoot a comment below if you can think of different ones. I'm kind of, you know, spacing out over here, but this one's a little bit different because check this out. No felt on the bottom, but watch this. It's a silicone set. It's a silicone chess set. chess pieces, actually, made out of silicone. You can get different colors. In fact, online, it's pretty cool because you go in there to order, and they'll actually allow you to just order the one color and then you order the other color. So you mix and match whatever you want. Like you can do red and green, or you can do, pretty much whatever. And you'll end up paying for 17 pieces, instead of 34. So that's kind of cool. You pay $8 for the 17 pieces, and then you can buy, like $8 worth of some other pieces. This particular set was together. This is the like dark green and antique yellow, like an antique looking. It's not a terrible combination. I think it looks really nice. It's not super large, and in fact, as far as the size of it's quite similar to the Barnes and Noble set, but it's very springy. It's obviously it's not going to slide on your board at all. Pieces are not weighted. There's no weight inside of them. The silicone here is going to be solid, so it's not hollow. Obviously, if it was hollow, it just wouldn't make sense. So I'm going to bring my weight set here in a second. The weight of the pieces is not terribly heavy, but it's still heavy enough for you to be able to play comfortably without feeling like these pieces are going to tip over. In the description, it said that these can be used in a classroom setting. They can be used in a teaching environment for demonstration purposes, or you could use them. Obviously you can buy these and use them at home with the kids, so the kids don't end up whacking each other. Because if the kids end up getting into a fight, especially if they're younger kids, then they can take these pieces and they could smash each other in the head with them. What caught my eye is the fact that these particular chess pieces are used in prisons, in jail, in whatnot, correction facilities. So that was actually pretty interesting, because I thought to myself, yeah, I mean, that makes sense, because if you take a nice solid plastic king like this, you could probably cut a piece off and you can make it into some kind of a sharp weapon, and then you can end up causing somebody some problems, Whereas this particular set, I don't think you would be able to use it as a weapon even if you sharpened it or anything, because it's rubbery. And so there's less likely that you're gonna, take these pieces and do anything with them, which kind of makes sense. I actually went to play at a prison one time. The organizer of our chess club actually had some connections with a local prison, and at one point I remember we were playing, and then a couple of my friends said, "Hey, do you wanna go play at a prison this weekend? We're all going." And I was like, "What, prison?" So then I went and talked to the coach, and he said, "Yeah, we do this like a couple of times a year. If you're interested, you would have to give me your information." So they would basically have to run a background check on you, and then we'll let you know. And then on Saturday, I'll come pick everybody up, and we're gonna go. And that's what we did. So that was really exciting. We ended up going to a prison that's not really far away from us, probably about a 40-minute drive. They brought us in, showed us the prison around, showed us the cafeteria, the library, and everything. And then finally, after a little tour, we met their chess people, which was, a fairly small group. And then we played. We played a couple of games. And let me tell you guys, those people, they have a lot of time on their hands, so they were really, really good, like really good. In fact, most of the people that came, including the coach, well, the coach I think ended up winning a couple of games. The coach was rated over 2,000, and then most of the rest of us just ended up just completely losing all of our games, because, like I said, those people there, especially those that are interested in the game, have quite a lot of time to practice and improve. I had a book, My System by Aaron Nimzovich, that I ended up buying like a long time ago. I said, "Thanks a lot for giving us the opportunity to play here." I ended up giving them the book. So very interesting to think about. Let's take a closer look at these guys. White kings. You could see the amount of detail is going to be highest at this. It's very similar. In fact, like the mold is quite similar in these two. As far as weight goes, 66 grams. It's actually very similar. 68, in fact. 68 grams. 27 grams for the rubber one. And then 53 grams for the for the Barnes & Noble. See, no weight inside. It's just kind of, as far as the diameter of the pieces, they're going to be very similar to the Barnes & Noble, as well as the height and everything. Just a little bit smaller. Here's the Dark Kings. Not a whole lot different between these two. A very similar mold. And then this one is, if you guys can tell, this is kind of a dark army green color. I'm gonna include the links below to all these different sets and where I got them, so that you guys can take a look and you know, judge for yourself what you guys might want to get. Light Queens. Once again, very similar. This one's already kind of bent a little bit, so maybe if I could bend it backwards, then it's going to be pretty straight. So let's take a look at the weight. 52 grams. 51 grams. 30 grams for the Queen. And then 48 grams for the Barnes & Noble set. Here's the Dark Queens. So here's the different knights. I could tell that this knight has a little bit more felt on the bottom. It almost feels like there's a little bit more felt on this one. This one has the felt like sit very close to the... And then once again, like what I was telling you guys before, watch this. Slides nicely. Feels like it's gonna scratch up your board. This one won't do anything. Okay, weight-wise, 60 grams, 52 grams, so a little bit of a difference there. 20 grams for this one. 37 grams for the Barnes & Noble set. Here's the Dark Knights, all very similar. Alrighty, here you have the 4 bishops. These two are kind of very similar in height and shape overall. And then you have these two just being quite similar overall too. 49 grams for the 42 grams here. 17 grams for the silicone. 26 grams, so slightly heavier, 26 grams for the Barnes & Noble. Here's the Dark Bishops. Here's the Rooks. The Barnes & Noble Rook is going to be the smallest one overall in shape. And then the Rooks for the other sets are going to be a little bit bigger and broader in size. Plastic chess set weighs at 67 grams, and then the 69 grams for this one. 22 grams for the rubbery one. And 40 grams for the Barnes & Noble. So, as always, because these are not weighted at all, they're going to be the lightest ones. But I'd be interested to see if we would have removed the weights from these pieces, if the weight then would be similar. Here we have the light Rooks. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about these particular chess pieces. Have you guys owned any silicone chess pieces before? What is your opinion of them? How do you like them? Any type of silicone is going to be a little bit more prone to getting some fungus in there, especially if you're keeping these chess pieces in like a high humidity environment, and if it's always warm, there's a possibility that all that moisture from the humidity is going to get into the pores of the silicone and end up causing some fungal growth potentially. Now, I wouldn't know because I just got this particular set, but like I said, let me know what your particular experience is with these pieces. Personally, I find them pretty cool just because they're so unusual. You know, you can't really create a whole lot of details in silicone just because they just wouldn't be able to cut out all the details in this rubbery material. In fact, from like the feel of it, it feels like a pencil eraser. That's pretty much what it feels like. Now, I've had some people recently actually ask me like, would you be willing to do any type of maybe chess puzzles? I did quite a lot of chess puzzles before. One of the things that I wanted to kind of share with you guys, and maybe maybe this is going to be helpful to some of you guys, and to others, especially those who have quite a lot of chess experience, this might not be helpful at all because it wouldn't necessarily matter. But for like the beginner chess players or the beginner chess puzzle solvers, one of the things that I used to do when I would solve puzzles is what I would do is basically when I would encounter a difficult chess puzzle. Imagine that I'm holding a candle right now, and imagine the candle is lit up. Okay, so get a little bit of air in your lungs. Just expand your lungs, and then pretend like you're trying to blow out the candle very gently, going like this, but very gently, and allow the air to hit the pretend, we're pretending here, but allow the air to breathe out in such a way that you're breathing out without actually blowing out the candle. So you're causing the flame to bend, but you're not blowing it out. So don't blow out forcefully, but go like this. 1, 2, 3, about 1, 2, 3 seconds, and then like 9 seconds or something. You can end up doing it like 9, 10 seconds. Do that a couple of times before you're making your move. Because what it ends up doing is, if you're doing the breathing exercises while you're solving chess puzzles, it kind of helps to reduce that impulse, the impulsivity of you of making that move, which could be helpful and also in playing games. When you feel like this feels like just the right move to do, do the breathing exercise, and what will happen is your brain is going to jump back a little bit, and instead of feeling like, okay, I'm about to make that move, just make that move, like make that move. When you do the breathing exercise, you kind of step back and your brain sort of says, slow down, let's just look at the alternatives before we make that decision. So your brain sort of steps back, less, impulsiveness is reduced a little bit. And like I said before, this particular technique would be actually useful to a lot of beginner chess players who are likely to move before thinking. To do the breathing exercises while you're playing, just don't pass out. Be mindful of the fact that while you're doing that, you're causing a reduction in slight reduction in oxygen level in your blood, and also an increase in carbon dioxide levels. So you could get a little bit dizzy or woozy. So like I said, I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing this, especially if you have any health issues, but I just wanted to share with you guys. That is a technique that I use quite a lot, especially when I'm solving chess puzzles. That I'll just pretty much sit there throughout the whole duration of my chess puzzle solving period, and I'll be doing this breathing exercise. It just kind of calms you down a little bit. If you do this particular exercise every day and you kind of practice mindfulness, then you'll realize that it's going to be helpful in just kind of setting your brain into a slightly different sort of a wavelength, to where you're going to be a little bit more calm in general. So just wanted to pass this along. Maybe some of you guys might find it helpful. They always do a disclaimer, consult with your physician if you have any health issues. I'm not trying to tell you guys any medical advice or anything like that, just trying to share with you guys what works for me. Okay? There you have it, guys. Not a very long video today. Just wanted to kind of make it a little bit more brief and just show you guys what new chess sets I got. Be sure to stay tuned till next week, because I do intend to get a couple of really nice chess sets. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and click that subscribe button, hit that like and comment. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.